Hello fellow Scratchers! We recently ran our first game jam within the Griffpatch Academy, and wow was it a blast! The theme was just too much, which was wide open to interpretation, and so we had over 150 entries, ranging from platformers to puzzlers to animations, and yes, I played them all. And now, for your viewing pleasure, I will present my top 22 shortlisted projects and pick 8 winners across the 7 different game genres. As you know, Scratch has a thriving community of animators, and their submissions were simply hilarious. Many projects played with the theme of too much, whether that was too much work, or too many potatoes, or too many ideas. But 2 projects stood out for their ingenuity. Quality Control by FRWolfUB follows the story of a mad cat scientist and their super duper quality computer TM. Problem is, it requires all the power from the New York City power plant to run it, and that turns out to be just too much. And so this clever choose-your-own adventure begins. Having found yourself dropped into some strange distant land, and with an amusing drop in the visual production quality, the first choice intriguingly bids you to enter a time machine. And so, now having to click the green flag yet again to start the game, strangely, things are not the same. Unfortunately, a time paradox kicks in and the game ends. But this is by no means the only ending. Nope, there are 11 of them. Can you find them all? I really appreciate the effort that went into drawing the animations and a cinematic framing of each shot. The text engine is also great, but perhaps a way to skip through some of the dialogue and scenes even faster would be a bonus, but I'm nitpicking here, so yeah, very cool indeed. Up against this we have our second animation, Just Too Much Ideas by binkybeaver. Idea. Like a number of entries, this animation focused on the concept of coming up with an idea. However, this time the protagonist stumbles across the Griffpatch Academy, which in turn ignites their brain with too much ideas. I see what you did there. So they get down to it to making a project, and then surprise surprise, you actually get to play the game right in the middle of the animation. That's really quite unique and I love it. Just a little warning, it turns out that too many ideas outside of the Griffpatch Academy can lead to hospitalisation due to brain overload. Just thought I'd warn you. Like with a number of other animation entries, binkybeaver went to the trouble of voice acting their characters, which is always really brave and can be really difficult, so yeah, they did a great job. So, picking a category winner, both of these shortlisted projects went above and beyond, but I'm going to have to go with Quality Control. Very cool and well done. So, our next game submissions are those that fall into the arcade genre, and we had a lot of these, so I had to split them roughly between general arcade and all-round directional shooters. So, arcade games. These tend to be all about fast level progression, upgrades, and yes, high scores. And I've got 5 shortlisted entries to show you, starting with Just Too Dango by MNNN3344. The kingdom of Kringle Merry is under attack by the infamous Dango Horde. It is up to us to take on the role of the Honourable Knight and fight through these delicious bouncing desserts. Once you get the hang of the first wave, you quickly find that things only get harder from there. It's really just one big multi-stage boss battle, and we all love boss battles. And gosh, once you reach the big guy himself, it's just too much for me. But the repetitive nature of each stage and gradually increasing difficulty lends well to the feeling that with practice you can progress further and faster. You just need to figure out your strategy and stick with it. It's well coded, looks great, and it's a blast to play. Is it too much? Well, let's see the competition. Just Too Much Advertisements by Malio and Ouija. And I just love this idea, and don't we all hate ads? Thank goodness there aren't any ads in my videos within the Griffpatch Academy. Anyhow, this game is essentially a simplified Flappy Bird style game, the catch being you have to also fend off all the pop-up ads that are vying for your attention, and man, the game would be hard enough without this distraction. And it quickly becomes all too much. Very clever, and perhaps just a little too real, since sometimes you can't even reach those close buttons since they appear off the screen. Ugh. I think perhaps it would be more fun if there was some kind of difficulty progression, starting a bit easier, but the concept is very entertaining. Just Too Much Blocks by blueybatgames. And apparently this game has the best death animation ever, if they don't say so themselves. Well, I guess we'll see. Wow, what a polished game this is. The UI is great with lovely transitions. This arcade game is simple. You take control of this little white dude who must fend off the incoming enemy cubes by dashing at them with a click of the mouse. The early levels are quite relaxed, but jumping into level 2 things really heat up. And yes, that is a cool death animation. Nice one. Entering level 3, well, the game gets quite challenging as there really are just too much blocks. But I do enjoy the addition of the large explosive blocks that help you to clear the screen of enemies fast. That brings a touch of strategy to the game, which is a really nice touch. The next project is named Switch by Sywft. Now this has a much more laid-back feel to it, a unique twist on the repetitive vertical shooter, where you take control of 2 individual turrets, each guarding their half of the screen. The catch is that only one turret can move at once, so while one is cycling back and forward dealing death to a wide area, the other turret is focused on a single point. Of course, a simple click of the mouse reverses this behaviour so we can defend the entire playing field. Where this mechanic really starts to get interesting is when the larger boss enemies show up. These monstrosities require a prolonged bombardment of bullets to clear them from the screen, so now things get a lot harder to manage. In general, I really love this idea, it's fun to play, but it could be even better if we had more gratifying feedback as our bullets bounced off the enemies, some kind of particle effects, explosions, sounds, or screen shake perhaps. And once you play for a while, suddenly you get into situations that are simply impossible to beat, which is a little frustrating. Now the last in this category, Diamond Bouncer by dsaxena-tcssh. Now this is a very intriguing project. It's ridiculously simple. Bounce a diamond off your paddle to prevent it going off the bottom of the screen. Yes, we've seen it all before, right? Well, not in this too much flavour, because now with every bounce we get double, yes, double the number of diamonds. So how on earth are we expected to cope with this? Well, your guess is as good as mine. All I can say is, seeing that high score of 30 drives me to keep playing. It's tantalising to think that somehow you could be the one to get lucky and get that top high score. And I think I got pretty good with 13. Man, is it really possible to get them all? I don't know, but it drives me mad. Awesome game, and yeah, it's just too much. Okay guys, they were our 5 arcade submissions, and what a difficult choice it is since they are all so good for different reasons. At the end of the day, I'm going to have to choose Just Too Much Blocks by blueybatgames for their superb presentation and excellent gameplay. What swung it for me was, although the gameplay does become too much, it always feels like you can get better and beat your previous score, a hallmark of a good arcade game. So on to the next genre, this is the clicker game. And although we had a number of submissions in this category, only one made it into the shortlist, and that was Johnnie Bunz, King of Coney Island by bitsacode. And what a classy game this is, and it's a simple concept. You are entering a hot dog eating competition and have to eat as many hot dogs as possible within 2 minutes. Click the hot dog button to eat a hot dog, but spam it too fast and you start to get indigestion that slows you down. Faster still, and he turns an unfortunate shade of blue, but quickly drink some liquids and you can get back into the game again. The trick is finding that perfect balance and stuffing in just way too much than is healthy for sure, but it's mighty gratifying when you get into the swing of it. Anyhow, want to challenge my top 247 high score? Go on, I dare you. So yeah, this is a masterfully engineered game, and hold on. What? You're a coding coach? Well, of course you are. Oh gosh, well, excellent game, and keep up the good work. You win this category. The next category I'll call the dodging games. There was some fierce competition in this genre, but I managed to whittle it down to just 3, so here they are. Don't Die by Strider 2013. They have a very pleasant title screen. Love the button animation here. And this is a classic example of this type of game. We are keyboard controlled, which limits movement speed, and it has a catchy tune, and the game begins. The important thing is that we are given a heads up to each impeding death scenario, hopefully just enough to allow us to get out of the way in time. The colours are all very nice, as is the costume-based HP counter. The only problem I have is that things do get a bit out of hand quite quickly, and there are some useful health pickups to keep us going surprisingly long, but man, I do find I almost always lose HP trying to reach them. Great job though, a very good game. Next up we have Too Many Projectiles by Wurter4. This is a similar concept to Don't Die, but with a very different feel. For starters, it has less of a party feel, almost feeling relaxed, but with an odd tension. The build-up of difficulty is also nice and gradual, so it gives you time to really get into this game. Interestingly, the player movement simply follows the mouse. This means we can move very precisely, yet with great speed if required. It's a fun choice, and it works well as more and more waves of enemies are introduced to compound our problems, each with their own shape, flight pattern, and behaviour to be mastered. When this all comes together, it really does become too much. The question is just how long you can keep going. What I love about this one is that you really feel the progression towards the inevitable, and yet, with skill, you may be surprised just how long you can keep things up. Okay, the third out of 3, Undertale, The Infinite Void, by OWRS11. This one needs no introduction, an Undertale boss battle no less, and I can tell you a lot of work has gone into this one, be that from the awesomely animated character rig, to the very sweet text engine with appropriately witty dialogue, to the crazy, difficult, ever-changing battle sequences. Prepare to spend a good 10 minutes blazing through this epic demo. What I can say is, unless you are some kind of Undertale battle pro, you don't stand a chance of getting very far. The only reason I could see the game out was that OWRS11 made the space key reset your health. Ha! Very handy, and I'm pleased they did because I enjoyed each fight sequence, just to see how things played out. After stage 11, the game kind of resets, I believe, and after I got to 19, the whole thing ground to a halt. Even so, it was a very good entry and a very fine demo of what they are capable of. Well done, you. But we have to choose a winner, and from these 3, it was dead hard. But in the end, I had to go with Too Many Projectiles by Wurter4, just cutting ahead of the batch for making a game with great progression, requiring skill to advance even in the face of becoming too much. So, shall we progress on to our platformer games? Let's see how our contributors envisaged just too much in this genre. Scratch Platformer by JPCaldasPro. And what the heck is going on in this platformer? Why am I surrounded by space dogs? The level is just so busy and full of stuff going on, so that it's so hard to know what to do. What's more, you don't have time to hang around because this rising sea of lava will make short work of you, and there's simply no escape. I can't quite figure out if I hit a bug or whether it's a feature, but I seem to get stuck in the ceiling and fly across the screen. Not that it helped me at all, and I was soon very much out of lives. I can't quite say that I enjoyed playing this crazy, chaotic platformer, but it sure fits the bill of being too much. After that, we are sure to need some relief, and we certainly get that with the immensely pleasant Adventure of Mr.Jack by, ioranamaururu. Well, I never knew how badly I wanted to be a bright, colourful bird until I got to try it out in this wonderfully creative take on the classic platformer. And man, I just love how the level has been put together, each screen joining to the next to form a large, colourful world that Mr. Jack inhabits. And he has a mission to collect all the fruits and keys to open this door at the top of the world. I wonder what's inside. Is this game too cute? Too delightful? Too colourful? I'm not sure, but it was certainly fun playing it, so thank you for your submission. And then we move from the bright, colourful world of Mr. Jack to the dark, eerie world of the Cavern of the Shifting Shadows by Pabney000. And that's a good way to describe what this game is in general. Eerie. The whole world is shifting and moving, appearing and disappearing. Can we navigate our way through this crazy cave system, avoiding the spikes, traps, falling rocks, or getting crushed by the moving platforms themselves? As we progress, there are various intriguing power-ups that can leave you inverted, playing upside down, or simply slow the scrolling of the game. It's a nice aesthetic, and it does play well into the theme of Just Too Much, with all the movement and threat around every corner. I do wish there was perhaps a progress indicator or score. Sonic's Fruit Mania by Sparkster1993. Well, what do we have here? A Sonic fan, no less? And this really is rather a good attempt at the basic Sonic game. I'm very impressed with the inclusion of well-animated cutscenes and dialogue into the main platformer gameplay. So, Dr. Eggman has stolen the 7 Chaos Emeralds, and the job of retrieving them is just too much for Sonic to do alone. I think we are again stepping slightly outside of what is permissible as a Game Jam submission here. Anyhow, it's a very well put together project. I'd love to see some classic Sonic moves like some anti-gravity speedrunning, but yeah, I know it's super hard to get right. Maybe I can make a tutorial on that one day. But it's now time to pick a winner. And it's the Cavern of the Shifting Shadows by Pybine000 because of its just two eerie shifting changing levels that are both challenging but simple in design, not overwhelming the player with crazy visuals but maximising on its theme. Well done Pybine000. I hope you continue to develop your game. Now everyone loves a good puzzle, and we've got 3 hotlisted entries up for the challenge. Our first entry is Too Much Party People by LeoGames20. A delightfully simple puzzle where we are at a party and we must click on all the people who do not have white hats. Well, I think I can manage that. Oh, well, okay, they really are mingled together. Just the coloured hats, coloured hats, coloured hats, and it seems that new party members are arriving all the time. Oh no! Now, a bit of a problem we have is that some of the people we need to click on get unfairly positioned behind other people. It would be nice to find a way to get around that. What I really do like though is that each time you play the game, you get a different rule to look out for, be that eye colours or hat colours. Yeah, really nice. Next up, Bubble Carrots by Ian the Cool Guy. This puzzle game requires us to battle the clock to collect as many tasty treats as possible in 2 minutes. The trick is that we can only move to red neighbouring squares. Round squares are walls, and orange squares, well, they are game over. That's the rules, and although it sounds simple, it's amazingly easy to get it wrong when the treat you are after is right there next to you and the timer is ticking away. I do very much like this game, and it's a clever idea with great execution. But is it too much? So that brings us to Speed Search by Not a School Account. Right away I can see that they've made good use of my sprite layering tutorial to keep their sprite ordering in check. Good job. So here we go. It's a race against time in this game to follow the instructions given in each round. Be that to find a cup, or to find 2 matching items, or the fastest moving item in the scene. And man, sometimes, especially on the 2 matching items, it can be surprisingly difficult. Dare I say, just too much? I really like the presentation of this game, and it cleverly gets around any issues preventing the clicking of items by keeping them moving, sorting them from back to front, and slowing their motion down when the mouse hovers over them. All in all, a really wonderful, entertaining game. So the winner of this Just Too Much puzzle category is Speed Search by Not a School Account for its polished graphics, solid coding, and well thought out game mechanics that sit well in the Just Too Much theme. A very well done to you. And that brings us to the final game genre, the classic shooter game. Although it crosses over a bit with our arcade game category, these 4 next entries differ in that the player can more freely move around the level and fire in any direction. So first up, the Unpixeled by WeirdStuff123. It's a fine example of this category, where you take on the role of a fearless cube in a world infested with the evil Unpixeled. Luckily, you are armed with a handy gun that, as you progress, is upgradable to help you tackle wave upon wave of ever more dangerous enemies. Now, the upgrades are not only limited to your gun, but also boost your speed, almost insanely so, and you'll find some very much needed health drops too. The question is, just how long can you keep the balance in your favour? I just wish there was some kind of score visible, so that you could tell how well you did. Guys, you should always include a score. Next up, it's Too Many Gurgles version 0 by BDangerFish. What an awesome title. This game looks suspiciously familiar. Yes, it's a great reworking of Lemonoids. We get thrown into a frantic battle against our enemy, the Gurgles. Luckily, we have a seemingly infinite supply of potatoes to fire back at them, and they certainly didn't see that coming, and they are surprisingly effective. What I particularly like is that the game is set to music, which syncs beautifully with the stages of the game, dividing it into levels, each harder than the last, but finally being described as way too much, and gosh, it certainly feels that way. But shock, I was able to complete this one. Was I lucky? I'm not sure, but it certainly felt like a great achievement. Next up, Deserted by MangosJangos. It's a very attractive single-screen shooter set in a desert where you take on the role of, this little guy. Now, the level is a dangerous place where you must avoid wandering snakes and battle the incoming cacti creatures, and this is where the game shines, because the cacti are definitely using real pathfinding. Did you watch my tutorial on that? And it works great here. But also your projectiles are bouncing projectiles, which makes the whole game exceptionally fun. Once you dispatch a cactus, go out and collect their mana. It's just a shame that after a while of play, the game does tend to bug out, especially on the second level. I suspect it's down to the screen shake causing problems with collision detection. I'm sure if it got fixed, this game would be an absolute gem. And that leaves us with Tale of the Scythe-bearer by DJWako. And oh my, was this an unexpected treat. DJWako did a great job with the coding, and I have to give a shout out to UltraKatty for the crazy awesome art. What a sensational collab. The game begins with a simple tutorial where we learn how to move around, teleporting being your thing for fast travel. Then, clicking your mouse calls down purple blasts from heaven. You don't have a lot of range, but they will be very effective against your foes. And these little crates. Once you've collected enough of these green energy balls, you can engage your special ability and call forth 4 awesome Mega Blasts that I would expect to scare away anything silly enough to consider coming up against us. And things do start nice and easy. These small energy blasts have enough knockback that they can stop the enemies in their tracks and leave you to collect your well-deserved mana. But it's not long before the levels ramp up in difficulty and things start to get out of hand. But even so, these awesome energy blasts turn out very handy as expected, and I didn't find it too difficult to reach the end of this game. Man, I wish it could be so much longer. Are you planning on continuing this? Gosh, so good. But guys, do you think this game embodies the theme of just too much? Tricky. Well, picking a winner is a mix of asking how well the game embodies the theme and how fun it is to play. And so I'm going to have to say the winner in this shooting category is Too Many Gurgles by BDangerFish for such an intense yet structured battle. And although it is set against an unfathomable number of enemies, still provides a route to success. Congratulations. And so, yes, I did say that was the last category, but I do want to give out one last special award for the most impressive submission. And out of all the projects I played, this has to go to JDWako for the Tale of the Scythe-bearer. It may have come second for the title of Just Too Much, but it is an absolutely gorgeous looking game with so much potential, and I would love to play more of it. So well done you, and well done everyone who submitted an entry. You all did so well, and it was a pleasure getting to play your games. There's a link to all the projects mentioned and the winners under this video, so do check them out. And I cannot wait to see what you guys in the Griffpatch Academy make for next month's Game Jam Challenge. Until then, scratch on, guys.